Welcome to 20 Steps to Launching Your Small Business. This is the latest in the Rebound series of webinars. My name is Robert Emerick. I am the Client Relations Manager for Rev Birmingham, and I am delighted to be joined today by Taylor Clark Jacobson, my colleague.
So my name is Taylor Clark Jacobson. I'm the Director of Business Growth and Recruitment here at Rev Birmingham. And what that means is that I get to work with small businesses to start, grow, and locate here in Birmingham every day. So I'm excited to dive into this. This is the very beginning. If you have a good idea and you don't know where to start, this is the perfect place to start. And it is it's one of my favorite parts of everything we do. And so with that, I think we should jump right into it. Robert, what do you say?
Absolutely. For those of you that are not familiar with Rev is a nonprofit economic development organization that works to create vibrant commercial districts in Birmingham. Our specific focus is on downtown and Woodlawn, but we do work with entrepreneurs from all over the metropolitan area. Our vision is that Birmingham is the most vibrant urban market in the Southeast where everyone can realize their dreams. And we know that is a big vision. And certainly that is, we are not alone in that vision. We have one part of that, but we are delighted to be here with you today to get you engaged in realizing your own dreams in Birmingham. Dr. A.G. Gaston, who of course is a very famous Birmingham entrepreneur, said that if you want to start a business, find a need and fill it. And there were truer words were never spoken. We think that right now is a great time to start a business. COVID certainly has uncovered opportunities as well as challenges, but we're going to take you through the steps today so that you can decide whether this is the right time for you. So the first place we start is identifying your particular business stage, and that it comes as one of the 5 stages that you see on your screen. We're guessing that most of you are in the concept or idea stage, which is where you have an idea, and now you're ready to start putting that idea, really working with that idea, putting it down on paper and seeing if that results in sales, which is where the startup happens. And then, of course, from there, existing growth and transitioning as you move through the life cycle. So start by sort of identifying where you are in that cycle, and that will help you sort through the content. Taylor?
Yeah, so often entrepreneurs come to us and they say, I've got a logo and I've got business cards and I have a business. And we typically like to start here. We say, whoa, let's back up. You're not just building a business, you're building a brand. And businesses and strong brands that truly connect with their customers in an authentic way are built with a strong foundation of why. This is the customer benefit, and we're going to take a dive into this here in just a moment. But then next comes your core values. And really, what are you doing and why you're doing it, and what's driving you as an individual and as a company every single day to do what you're doing. And that's then further propped up by really good design, the look and the feel that connects with the customer. And then the roof is the customer experience. All of those things are encompassed in a customer experience and how those things make your customer feel when they engage with your brand. And your logo is just merely a door into your business and into your brand and connecting with you. So this is the framework that we like to begin with, so that you can start in the foundational piece of why. So if you've done any programming with the Rev Birmingham team, or if you do any programming with us in the future, you'll know that we're a big fan of Simon Sinek. And when we teach our Biz 1.0 class, we spend quite a bit of time on this, and you can easily Google and find a TED Talk by Simon Sinek where he talks about starting with why. Because people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. It's how your product ultimately solves the problem and makes them feel when they're engaging with you. So he uses Apple as an example, right? And so you may be buying an iPhone as an example, but you're not really buying an iPhone or a device. You're buying all of the benefits that come with that, and how that device and how that company has made you a loyal shopper. Robert makes a lot of fun of me because I'm such a Zappos fanatic. I buy everything from my tennis shoes to my Levi's from Zappos, and it's because I'm buying the customer experience and their culture and how their culture makes me feel as a consumer engaging with their brand. And so that's really what we're getting at here. And so I encourage you to find that YouTube video and watch this segment. So next, that takes you to the core values, which I mentioned earlier. And so really your customer is engaging with you because they value the same things that you value. So it's really important to get clear on what you believe and to figure out who shares those same values as you do. And a lot of times this comes from a place of feeling like there is something wrong in the world. There's a problem that you are convicted to solve, right? And so you begin to really hone in on what's driving you and what you value should be your North Star from the time you start your business, begin thinking about your business, and as you grow, because those are the things that are going to guide you in your decision making, who you hire, and who you choose to do business with, your vendors. It becomes a North Star in the decisions that you make as an entrepreneur. So I can't stress this enough as an important piece. And next, that takes us to drafting a message that really incorporates the elements that I just talked about, right? It's being able to articulate what you believe and how your products and services reflect that and how you're connecting with your customer. So here at Rev, we do a workshop called Crafting Your Brand Story. We do this exercise in Biz 1.0, and then we do it in one-on-one coaching as well. This is a really core piece to building a business. And we're happy to schedule time with anyone interested that's really looking to build a brand that's founded in a strong brand story. And then the other piece of this is practicing it with anyone and everyone who will listen to you talk about what's driving you so that you can begin to really hone in on what resonates with people, where things are clicking, and being able to take that feedback and apply it. And feedback's a really important piece of this, so we're going to get into that as well. So an example of this, I like to provide an example because oftentimes people haven't done anything like this before in their careers or otherwise. And so I usually take a moment to share a personal manifesto. This is actually my husband's company, and this is the manifesto that he drafted using the Biz 1.0 framework, using the framework that we're talking about here today. But this is what we're talking about when we're honing in on your why. And so I'm going to read this and then we'll move on. So we believe in real food, garden grown, farm raised, and handcrafted as it should be. We believe in real meals made with real ingredients produced by real people. We believe in the power of food to fuel, to sustain, to create the best version of ourselves and joyful memories along the way. We believe food is an integral experience to the journey, connecting people with time, place, and one another. We believe in elevating simple dishes to echo our past and look forward to the future, but grounding us in one special moment in time. The noble dog is a vessel for our values, paying respect to the process of growing, crafting, preparing, and connecting through food. Respect the dog. And so you would not think that this is a hot dog stand. This is a mobile hot dog cart, but it's so much more than that. It's a vessel for his values. So just share that as inspiration and how you might approach this.
Yeah, and you just thought that a hot dog was a sausage that you threw in the microwave, but now you know that it is so much more.
So much more.
So at Rev, we are big fans of a concept called the minimal viable product. And the MVP, we call it the MVP, is the product or service that requires the least amount of investment in both time and money to get you your first sale and to begin collecting that customer feedback that you're going to need to take your product to market. So the questions that we begin to ask at this point is what might be your MVP? If you're a baker, it might be a cupcake, for instance. If you're a hot dog vendor, it's going to be a hot dog. If you're a consultant, it might be something very specific. that you are taking into the marketplace, because that is your expertise. And of course, you want to ask yourself, where are you going to sell it? And how are you going to collect and apply that feedback that you gain to improve your product offering? So MVP, again, is that one product that you can take to market with the least amount of investment and time and money to get that first sale, because until you have that first sale, you really don't have a business. So that leads us into a discussion of the business side of business. And we know that this is where people get nervous sometimes. So one of the number 5 in the matrix that we've laid out is identify your startup cost. What is it going to take to get you to that minimal viable product? So if you're a baker, you might need things like, baking equipment. You're going to need an oven. You're going to need a mixer. You're going to need pots and pans. You're going to need raw materials, ingredients, packaging. You might need something like some sort of a display booth if you're going to be selling at a farmer's market. If you're a consultant, it may be something as simple as a cell phone or a laptop, and perhaps a website. So laying out those startup costs and getting on paper before you spend any money, and really getting a solid handle on what it's going to take for you to get into business is super important. And then, of course, once we've started, we have ongoing expenses, and we get into things here that are that may be a little bit of that accounting language that you've heard. So ongoing expenses like rent and insurance and marketing, wherever you're at in your small business, we can always take a deeper dive with you if you're really interested in this piece of it, or when you get to this place. So again, talking about variable expenses and fixed expenses and what your break-even point is, so that you always know financially where you are in your business. I love this slide. Taylor built this slide. It's name your baby, right? So everybody, this is the fun part of the business, is naming your business. But this is really important that you make sure that nobody else has that name. So there are a number of resources that we will be happy to share. We've listed some of them here. This doesn't take you any time or effort, but we really highly recommend that you take a look at the Secretary of State, the Alabama Secretary of State, which is where people register their legal entities. You can certainly always Google or check social media. If it's something that you're looking to patent or trademark, you certainly want to check the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. There's a website out there called whois.net, which is a great resource to see who might have a domain that you're interested in without actually showing your hand, because some folks make a living out of seeing who's looking for domain names and snapping them up and selling them back to you.
True statement.
Of course, always, yeah, great business model, right? Of course, always setting up a legitimate email address, which again doesn't take much time or effort or money to give your business an air of credibility.
And so now that you have checked your social media sites to make sure that your social media handles are available and that there's nobody that's super close to your business name that might create some customer confusion, you've named your baby and you are ready to draft a business plan. And no, I am not talking about that super intimidating 25-page document with exhibits and all of that. This can be a stumbling block for entrepreneurs. We've seen it time and time again, and it does not have to be. It does not have to be overly complicated. This can be anything you need it to be. It can be a one-page document if that's what's easiest for you. The point of a business plan is to get your ideas out of your head on paper, to look at those objectively, and to strategize about how you're going to reach your goals. It's used to communicate your concept to other people as well, right? Not just, it might be family, friends you're borrowing money from. It might be your spouse who you're trying to gain buy-in for you to pursue this side hustle. So all of that to say, it could be a PowerPoint, it could be a one-page document. And of course, we're here to help you with this, but we've tried to outline the items here that you need to take into consideration. So you're going to want to define the customer problem, right? This goes back to what's the problem that you're solving, that you've identified in the market that you think you can solve. And then how are you solving it? What's the solution that you're going to deploy? and how is your customer currently solving their problems? So chances are they're solving it in one way, form, or fashion. And this would be your competition. And we encourage you to think about competition outside of the obvious ones, right? So if you're selling coffee, as an example, it might be that juices or other beverages or even snacks are competing for your customers' afternoon dollar. And then how are you better than your competition? What's going to set you apart? What's going to differentiate you? And how will you produce your product and ultimately get it into your customers' hands? And then how much cash is it going to take for you to get there, to launching your product, and then ultimately growing? You know, we typically want entrepreneurs to look at least a year out. Chances are, if you're going to start a business, you're probably going to be doing that as a side hustle for a while, and you're going to want to know, how long do I have to do a side hustle and work my full-time job, right? And so putting your numbers together and looking ahead and forward is going to help you figure out, you know, when might I be able to transition out of my side hustle into something full-time? So business plan is important. It does not have to be intimidating or complicated. And the next thing that you need to do, and this goes back to the business plan, is you're going to want to talk to all of these fantastic folks that are part of the ecosystem. And so having your business plan on paper is going to keep you from having to tell your story over and over and over again. It's going to maximize the time that you get to spend with this awesome ecosystem that's here to support you. So as Robert mentioned earlier, we are one of 16 to 20 organizations in Birmingham that are really focused on supporting entrepreneurs and starting and growing. And we've listed a bunch of them on this slide here. You've got everything from the Alabama Small Business Development Center down to neighborhood organizations like Urban Impact that work in the 4th Avenue Business District. There's some community development financing institutions here and others. So this truly is the Rebound team. And so we encourage you to get plugged in and figure out who can support you on this journey, and then to find a mentor. Entrepreneurship can be extremely isolating. It's a huge risk. And so therefore, finding people who can support you and guide you along the way, somebody who's walked the walk at some point, that's willing to show you the ropes and just be a listening ear sometimes when you need it, that somebody can help you. And then the other thing that's not listed here is developing relationships with other entrepreneurs within the ecosystem. If you get plugged in with some of these organizations, you're going to begin meeting passionate entrepreneurs that get it and that can be there to support you along the way and can foster collaboration and things of that nature. So it's really important to get plugged in and to leverage what you've got to grow here in Birmingham. So now you're ready to just determine your structure. Robert?
Yep. So how is your business going to be set up? And this is something that can certainly change depending on how you grow. But if you can determine what you want to do at the outset of your business, it can save you time and money. So we always say that in addition to figuring out how you're going to start your business, we encourage you to think about how you're going to get out of your business when the time comes. And hopefully that will be a long time. But for instance, most people at some point choose, in our experience anyway, the limited liability corporation. But certainly sub S corps, there are C corps, there are all kinds of business structures depending on how you want your business to work over time and how you want to walk away from that business. Do you want to sell it? Do you want to just shut it down and buy your island with all your earnings and move? But anyway, at this point, we do suggest that you spend a little money and talk to an attorney and an accountant about the options here, because really getting this right on the front end is super important. It can save you aggravation and money. One of the things that is very easy and very inexpensive, it's free as a matter of fact, is setting up a federal EIN, Employer Identification Number. This is a Social Security number for businesses. There's a website, and we will be happy to share that information if you'll just let us know. You go register, it doesn't take any time at all, and they will provide you with your federal EIN. You will need that EIN If you ever plan to hire an employee, or if you want to do something as simple as setting up a business checking account for you. So do that early on in the process.
Yeah, so as Robert mentioned, setting up a business checking account, you're going to need that EIN number for a business checking account. And it's so very important from the very front end to keep those personal and business expenses separate. Keep your checking account separate from your personal account. And there are a tremendous number of banks in the Birmingham area that would love to support small business. So it's really about shopping around and finding the right fit for yourself, and some things to think about when you're selecting where to open up your checking account. You know, what's most convenient for your schedule? Are you going to do farmers markets, or, you know, are there lots of branches throughout the state? It depends on your business model and what you're trying to accomplish. And, you know, things to consider: how will you manage your cash flow? How will you keep those things separated, and how will you keep your books over time to get a picture of what's happening to your cash flow in and out? And so considering hiring a bookkeeper, most clients that we work with do not hire a bookkeeper from the very beginning. So it's incumbent upon you to create a process for yourself. You know, a lot of times it's, you know, one day a week is earmarked as your admin day to reconcile all of your income and expenses. So it's a great place to start. Robert, anything you want to add?
Yeah, so this is opening that business checking account certainly makes it a little easier and cleaner when April the 15th rolls around, but it also puts up a firewall that can make it a little more difficult to dip into the butter and egg money or the rent money when you're running your business. So again, a very inexpensive, simple thing to do that can help you move your business forward. This is the point where it starts to get really gnarly, depending on where you're working. Our expertise, of course, is specifically in Birmingham. And as we know, there are 33 different municipalities in Jefferson County alone. But we are happy to work with you for your business that may be located in Birmingham. So you're going to be dealing with, regardless of your business, you're going to be dealing with the state of Alabama. You'll need to obtain a sales tax number. Jefferson County, you'll need a business license as well as a sales tax number. And then for the city of Birmingham, if you're operating in Birmingham, you'll need the business license, the sales tax number, and there could be other permits depending on what your business is. If you're a mobile food vendor, things start to get a little more complicated, for instance, and that leads us into food-related businesses. If you are a baker, there is something out there called cottage law, which allows you to, it's a state designation that allows you to actually bake in your kitchen. But there are a lot of parameters wrapped around that. We're happy to work with you on that. If you are getting into the alcohol business, that's a whole different animal. So just be aware that these things start to layer as you move forward. You'll be working with, if you're food related, you'll be working with the Jefferson County Health Department for food handler certification, for plan review if you're building a restaurant. And again, the city of Birmingham, mobile food vendors licenses, whether it's a hot dog cart or a food truck. And again, liquor licenses. While the state actually issues the liquor license, if you're going to sell alcohol in Birmingham, you will need to go through a process before you get to the state.
So now it's time to set up your social, launch your website, and create your marketing to let the world know that you are open and you are ready for business. So you'll want to claim your social media presence and begin generating buzz there. I encourage entrepreneurs even to begin documenting through their social media channels the journey of starting a business. People love to connect with you in that way and to become your cheerleader through the process. And so you'll want to make sure that you not only have social media, but are you trying to sell by way of social media? Are you all set up to do that? And then, of course, launching your website. There's so many fantastic tools out there like Shopify and Squarespace, and there are all kinds of platforms that are inexpensive and DIY, so it is not difficult to at least get a splash page up, a 1 or 2 page micro site that allows people to find you. Other things to think about is like a Google listing. Are people going to be able to find you when they Google you? If you're moving into a brick and mortar, there are things like Yelp. So it's really important just to have a good sense of what the digital tools are and the digital platforms where you need to have a presence. And our team also can send resources along to help you strengthen your online presence and learn how to navigate that without having to hire somebody in those early stages. And then going back to your budget and figuring out, okay, where am I going to spend my money with my marketing? Am I going to spend money on business cards? Do you need business cards, or can you go without them? You know, banners, flyers, all those little things, a magnet for your car. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish, who your customer is, and determining, you know, how you're going to market yourself. But it is important to build that into your budget from the very beginning so that you know how much you're going to allocate for your marketing. And so once you're out there selling your product or your service, it's really important, and Robert touched on it earlier, collecting customer feedback. This is a really important part of the growing process, particularly in the early days, is engaging your customers and asking them for feedback. That could look like a lot of different things. That could be, you know, just having dialogue with customers at public markets or farmers markets or pop-ups. But how are you going to capture those notes and make sure that you can come back to those, review them, and capture them? Maybe it's an idea box. Social media sites offer surveying opportunities now. So there's a lot of different ways that you can engage your customer in asking for their feedback and then applying that feedback. This customer feedback loop is really important in the early stages in particular, but something I think you should do through the course of the life of your business. You always want to have a finger on the pulse of how your customers are feeling about your product, service, and the experience that they're having.
Yeah, and that again is something that is so important because, and you see that everybody's jumped on that bandwagon. So even the big boys, you know, whether it's you know, Walmart or Whataburger, every single time they hand you a receipt, they ask you to take a survey, and they do take that.
That's a good point. So now you're ready to start making money, right? You're ready to get to that first dollar. So how are you going to get that minimum viable product to the market? How are you going to get to that first sale? For a lot of folks, that's the farmer's market, the public market, street markets, pop-ups. We have lots of clients that do pop-ups inside other people's establishments, right? And so that's in part why it's important to get connected to the small business community, because there really is a sense of camaraderie there, and small businesses helping one another out to get the word out about their product. Pop-ups, we've had clients do restaurant takeovers where they take over a kitchen for a night, and like on a Monday night, and do a test menu and use that as a customer feedback opportunity. Private parties. So again, just really thinking about how can I begin this customer feedback loop, and how am I going to get to that first sale? And if you want help in figuring that part out, that's what we're here for as well. And last but not least is to make your model viable for long term. So you're going to take all of that feedback that you're getting in those early days, and you're going to apply it, and you're going to pivot based on the feedback that you're getting. And then you're going to pivot again, and you're going to pivot again, because my friend, that is what entrepreneurship is, right, Robert? It is about being responsive to the market. And we're seeing it even through the pandemic. The entrepreneurs that we work with have been growing and pivoting over time, and many of them did not miss a beat when the pandemic hit, because they are used to being nimble and on their toes, and they just shifted how they do what they do to meet their customer in a different way. So it's really important to internalize this idea of pivoting and applying what you're learning and hearing and experiencing for the longevity of your business. So with that, those are the 20 steps to launching your business. And Robert and I are here, but again, we are one of, dozens of resources available to entrepreneurs in the Birmingham community. So you'll see our website at the bottom of the slide, revbirmingham.org. And if you go to /reboundbham, you'll find 15 or 20 workshops there that are recorded that cover the gamut of topics related to financial foundation, sales, marketing, social media, leadership, operations. So you'll find all kinds of resources there. And of course, we are here to coach you and offer that one-on-one time at no charge. bizgrowth@revbirmingham.org. We'll get you, Robert.
Yeah, so if you will reach out to me, we'll be happy to send you this actual checklist, which is also available on our website for no charge other than your email. So be happy to send you that. And if you would like to pursue any of these topics, just let me know, hit me back by email. We'll do a brief phone call to talk about your business concept and start identifying the resources that you need to move your business forward. So thank you so much for joining us. We're delighted to be on this journey with you, and wish you good luck and hope to see you soon.
Take care.